a big story that is going to continue to be traced for the next several months is what's going to happen at the quarterback position in the NFL. We talked about this a lot yesterday. Every day it seems like there is new drama surrounding where guys might go, how many changes there might be, what the 2021 NFL season might look like. If you were listening yesterday, you know I ran through all 32 NFL teams, and I said I only felt comfortable with about 12 teams being the same starter in 2021 as they had in 2020, and that I can't remember a season when we had less stability at the quarterback position. And one of those teams that has maybe a little bit of instability, even though no one wants to acknowledge it, is what might go on with Green Bay. In particular, is it possible in this offseason that Aaron Rodgers makes one of two decisions? One, he tells the Green Bay Packers, I want out of this relationship, and I will consider retiring unless you are willing to trade me. Or two, does he say, I feel like I've got 4 or 5 years left. I want an extension on my contract, and I want you to move on from Jordan Love because I don't want the heir apparent to my reign sitting there looking over my shoulder the year after I win the MVP, theoretically, and prove that I have many years left to go. It's possible that Aaron Rodgers makes neither of those demands. It's also certainly the case that we need to listen to what is being said, but also understand that in the NFL, or any pro sport for that matter, or any part of life, that oftentimes you don't get the full story involved in issues such as these. So, yesterday, the president of the Green Bay Packers went on radio, and he was asked about Aaron Rodgers, and he had this to say.
I just want to ask you, I don't want to go into great detail, but how did you take what Aaron said yesterday about there's a lot of futures that are going to be uncertain, myself included, and he kind of chuckled, and that has just gone that's gone ballistic today nationally.
No, I know. Well, I'll say this. There's no way in heck that Aaron is not going to be on the Packers. I mean, he's going to be the MVP of the league. Might have had his best year ever. He's our unquestioned leader, and we're not idiots.
So we're not idiots. And look, I understand the Packer perspective. You don't want anything to change with Aaron Rodgers, and frankly, his performance this year was a complete indictment of your decision to go draft Jordan Love in the first place. And frankly, for Packer fans out there, how many of you watched that performance against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and thought to yourself, you know what we needed to do in the first round of the draft? Go get a quarterback that's not going to play and stand him on the sideline for the next several years, because that potentially is what's going to happen with that first-round draft pick of Jordan Love. The real value of all first-round draft picks is you get the ability to lock in a first-round draft pick under an incredibly reduced rate contract. Well, if Jordan Love didn't play at all this year, we just finished, and if he's unlikely to play at all next year, and maybe the year after too, what a complete failure by the Packer brain trust to have wasted a first-round pick like this when they have potentially a championship caliber team. Well, Aaron Rodgers hopped on the Pat McAfee show, as he's been doing all season long, and he said this about his future with the Packers.
I don't feel like I said anything that I hadn't said before. I said it the first time I talked to the media. It was more a realization, I think, that ultimately my future is not necessarily in my control. I don't think that there's any reason why I wouldn't be back, but look, I think there's not many absolutes, as you guys know, in this business. So to make an absolute statement about something that is not an absolute, I didn't do it, and I guess that's why it went kind of nuts. There's times where you let your mind go to maybe, I'm going to be a Packer for life, or I'm going to be I'm going to be like a Tim Duncan or a Jeter or a Kobe and play with one team my entire career. I think naturally you dream about that. I mean, that's kind of like a dream scenario, and I've talked about that for much of my career. I think, when they drafted Jordan, it was more just like the reality kicking in going, hey, that's actually never the case. There are no absolutes in this business.
So that is Aaron Rodgers talking about the Green Bay Packer quarterback position. Now, some people are going to be like, oh, there's nothing to this. Oh, you're overreacting. I don't think that is necessarily the case, because as good as Aaron Rodgers has been about what he has said publicly, remember he said the night that they drafted Jordan Love, I think it was a 3-finger tequila night. He poured a lot of tequila, sat down, and started to drink, because this is a team that was in the NFC Championship game last year. You go into the first round of this year's NFL draft and you decide to bring in somebody who has zero impact in making your team better. And there's no way that Aaron Rodgers isn't thinking about that now going into the offseason. Now, I guarantee you that the Packers are going to be in a position where they're thinking about drafting maybe somebody at corner, maybe somebody that they believe is going to be an immediate impact difference maker for them going forward. But to me, I've rarely seen a pick totally destroyed in terms of the logic of a season more than what Aaron Rodgers did this year. And some of you may be saying, well, you know what? Maybe this is what the Packers needed to do to provide a major impetus to Aaron Rodgers to demonstrate how much better he can be. They needed to put a little bit of a threat out there to him. This is what crystallized everything for him and made him so great in 2020, was recognizing that this team wasn't going to be his forever and that he had to justify his performance and his salary and his position on the team just like everybody else did. And, oh, look at what this did to Aaron Rodgers. It crystallized his focus. He went out and had an MVP season. Maybe you can make that argument. But I think Aaron Rodgers sits around in this offseason now and arguably gets angrier about the Jordan Love decision even more now that he knows how close he has been to the Super Bowl for a second straight year. And the Packers just haven't been willing or able to take that next step for him. And I think that there's going to be talk about where Aaron Rodgers might go. And again, if he wanted to make this nasty, he could do one of two things. He could say, I'm going to retire unless you trade me. I don't think he's willing to do that. But if he did, I think he could really put Green Bay on the spot and not give them a lot of options. Deshaun Watson has put certainly the Houston Texans on the spot. Matthew Stafford, Carson Wentz. I mean, there are a lot of guys making a lot of different power moves at their particular teams. So it's not unheard of that Aaron Rodgers could go that route. Or he could try and force Jordan Love out and say, you know what, I want a commitment to me for years into the future beyond where we are right now. And the only way that commitment makes sense is if Jordan Love's not on this team anymore. Now, that feels particularly vindictive, and I doubt that the Packers could get anywhere near a first-round pick right now for Jordan Love. But if you're going to take a quarterback in the first round and sit him on the bench for 3 years, maybe 4 years, who knows how many years Aaron Rodgers has left, but he didn't look close to the end of his career, then effectively you have made a choice that unlocks absolutely zero value. Now, Aaron Rodgers is not alone here. This is not some massive story that is out there that is unlikely for the Packers compared to everybody else. Remember, Jay Glazer was on with us yesterday, and he said, man, the Packers don't know what the real world is like. They went straight from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, and they have whatever the years are, 20, 40 to 35, whatever the heck the years are. I mean, a long time. What is it? 30 years, basically, nearly, of high-end quarterback play without any lapses, right? It just doesn't happen very often. We saw, the transition from Joe Montana to Steve Young, where you go from one Hall of Fame first ballot quarterback to the next Hall of Fame first ballot quarterback. Saw it to a certain extent, although obviously Andrew Luck has decided to hang up the spikes in Indianapolis, where they went from Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck. But most of the real world in the NFL is, if you have a Hall of Fame quarterback, the difficulty to find the guy to replace your Hall of Fame quarterback can go on for a very long time. I think that the New England Patriots are about to find out about this. And by the way, the team that is the poster child for the difficulty of being able to replace a Hall of Fame quarterback is certainly the Miami Dolphins, who still have people showing up in Dan Marino jerseys 20 years after Dan Marino's career has been over. And really, when you look at Tua, there's still some uncertainty whether the Dolphins have found their guy yet going forward, to be sure. So there may be a little bit of cockiness in Green Bay where they think, hey, this is just what we do. We identify big-time quarterbacks. And so over the last 30 years, this fan base has gotten very, very used to the idea that you can just hand the baton from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. And we know that Aaron Rodgers also had to cool his heels and sit on the sideline for a while. The difference is the dynamic of rookie quarterbacks has changed. Quarterbacks make so much money that the value of a quarterback is very often found in the 4 or 5 years that you get him under his rookie contract. Well, the Packers have already given up 1 year of value for Jordan Love. They're definitely giving up another year if Aaron Rodgers comes back. And if he comes back, he may well require another year of guarantee, which gets him into a third year. It completely defeats the entire purpose of that draft pick, which we've been talking about since that day when Jordan Love was added to the team.